This week on Hermitcraft.
How am I ever going to be taken seriously if I don't have my business attire on? This is better. I'll be taken seriously now.
Welcome to the Hermitcraft RECAP. My name is PixelRift, our writer is LoyXP, and when you watch as much Hermitcraft as we do, you notice patterns emerging in the chaos. Now, it's not exactly subtle by now, but the decision to not have a centralized shopping district on the server seems to have backfired, and in the resulting explosion of commerce, the Hermits are forming several shopping districts, some even at odds with each other. The most obvious is of course the Bottom Town, Mumbo, Grian, Impulse, Scar, and Pearl, who openly have declared themselves a corporation. Already opposing them is the Big Eyes crew with Tango, BOO, and Corrales, who are only sometimes accompanied by GeminiTay, because GeminiTay has now started the Swamp Lump coalition with False Symmetry and Stress Monster, which we can't tell if iJevin factors in at all, since remember iJevin is under Evil Azuma's influence, and so are VintageBeef and Wells Knight. Amid these monoliths, we have to remember the absolute wild card that is Horsehead Farms, where XBcrafted and Hypno came into possession of IOUs from a vast range of people on each side, ready to scatter them over the server like confetti. And it's a complete mystery how DocM and Rendog's Gotham and Hermitcraft stuff fits into all of this, because they don't seem as interested in dominating the market as they are in just dominating. But at least when the House of Cards begins to topple later in the season, the one remaining cornerstone of the market will be JoeHills' flower shop. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. So if you thought that our intro today was too much fan pandering, check out Xisumavoid's latest, where in a cutscene, Evil Azuma arrives at the Hell's Dimension where all the evil counterparts of the Hermits reside, to try and convince Hell's Knight to join the Derpcoin cause. Hells can't influence Wells Knight directly, but does advise Evil to just send a regular Azuma in, which just about does the job.
You and I, we go back a pretty long way. So I'm gonna take your word for it.
Anyway, internet points for anyone who can name all the characters in the Hells Bar. X has a much easier time influencing some villagers into forever trading pumpkins for emeralds once he wiggles the bunch where it's supposed to go.
Zoom in. Oh, that is very slow falling right there. Oh, and goodbye.
A much more eloquent method comes to Cubfan. When having to relocate his testificate operation, he just stacks them in a giant Pez dispenser.
And since they're on a rail, I think that should allow us to easily move them out, like one at a time.
With the civilians out of the way, Cub can continue the spread of dripstone around the canyon, and we even get a nice progress indicator as he does the classic before and after map comparison.
Major progress. You know what? This almost looks like a winged creature. Like this is a wing over here.
Any residual drip will be sold in a well-camouflaged shop called Double Drip. Just have to be very cautious navigating to it in the Labyrinth Canyon. For a more scientific approach to mazes, look no further than ZAF. We're not talking corn here. Zed really goes out of his way to make a 1-block tall labyrinth, though not for his server mates. Instead, he lures in an Endermite, which he figures is as close to a lab rat as it gets, size-wise. The Endermite runs are timed via a separate contraption, but since the conditions of the test are never changing, and the subject seems incapable of memorizing the path, the only result of the test seems to be an Endermite with really buff calves.
And he's fast out of the gate! Yeah, maybe that 11.5 minutes is... Oh no, he's going. He's having a spin. That's it. That's how he thinks.
Hypnotizd has more humble aspirations. He just wants to navigate his own storage system a little bit easier. So until Mojang comes out with a double barrel, chests it is. He is pulled away from expanding his box pile when Horsehead Farms gets the idea to auction the Hermit's IOUs, which is prime opportunity for us to showcase the first version of the auction house we made the faux pas of omitting last week.
Ooh, I like what you've done there. That's glorious. Right.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm like the best builder ever, but
XBcrafted checks back in later to discover the bidding wars have begun, although the conversation is a little slower than your average auction house. Luckily, he has plenty of time to wait, and his Wasteland megabase is keeping him occupied in the meantime. The dome can repel pillagers, but it might have a harder time with giant alien worms. The carcass of one is built nearby, but its mother turns up looking for big chompy vengeance. Although it occurs to us that if the giant worm is too much of a threat, he just needs to put in a call to False Symmetry's giant eagle.
Is that freaking cool, or is that freaking cool?
The movement of giant land masses in the marsh continues when GeminiTay reaches out to her co-Swamptriates, hoping to form their own shopping operation.
Hi, I just saw you fly towards me. Hi.
Hi, False.
Yeah, you can pay for a new door if you break that one.
Gem's first move is to build up a mossy rock formation, nicknamed the Swamp Lump, to serve as the cornerstone, for their future build. She then passes it to False Symmetry, who digs up a moat around it. Seeing how False was already clearing out the space under her spider spawner, it was just a matter of swinging her shovel some more. False passes the lump duties on to Stress, but not before raising a swamp monstrosity at her doorstep. The green compels, and Stress Monster joins the cause, though what she'll add to the collective pet rock remains a mystery for the time being.
How long does it take you to get out your boat? Oh, yeah, I guess she's walking, isn't she? It's gonna take a while.
Unbeknownst to them, GeminiTay is already prepping a vault for the riches. Unbeknownst to anyone, really. It wouldn't really be a secret diamond vault otherwise.
Oh, I'm a genius. And then, yeah, absolutely perfect, I tell you.
The treasures already in there include all the profits from selling trees and moss, all the player heads she acquired, and soon enough, bunnies and netherite.
It turns out me and Pearl both share a very strong passion for collecting creatures. Cats loyally following their pearlescent moon up the mountain.
The green gains another ally in Ijevin. After all, he wears the colours. He also declared his next goal to turn the biome around him into an enchanted swamp, and sure does so, spreading custom trees, spore blossoms, and shaders everywhere he goes.
I am currently using Slider's Vibrant Extreme shaders, and wow, guys, this is incredible looking. So I just want
After much consideration, he even decides on the pattern to spread out over the slime pit. Turns out all the gradient was missing is a noise map, and the results look quite satisfactory. This is, however, where the March of Progress crashes through the wall, and Jevin departs to the Nether to set up a tiny yet incredibly efficient gold farm. Impulse SV adds a moss farm to his offshore industrial area, the better to power the neighbouring kelp and netherwood farms with bone meal.
As that was also temporary, and as soon as Bodum Inc. starts to get constructed over there, we're going to move all this product over there anyway.
It's an approach that's paying off in the form of new shop opportunities, all of which will eventually be integrated into the Botum Town shopping experience TM. His other shops are also firing on all cylinders, but alas, we cannot say the same for his dueling skills. Moving his starter house to make way for future developments in Botum, Impulse creates the entrance hall for the factory, leading to the room where the first experiments in recreating iDimpy bars are constructed, although the first one might need to go back to formula after it turns him into a green goblin.
Oh no! Oh, what has happened?
JoeHills has an easier time bartering some dripstone from Cub, although he's after the blocky stuff, not the one that falls on you at terminal velocity. It's a foundational element of the castle walls he and Cleo are working on, and Joe terraforms a few of the local hills to provide a vantage point for visitors, then gives us a cool flyby of the progress so far.
In lieu of that mid-roll ad, I will now read a poem of my own devising that I call Not Music.
It's lucky he can rely on the replay mod for the flying, because he manages to catch his 1000th day of the No Wings Club on camera. Having put up the previous medals as decorations in his tavern, he awaits the arrival of his prismatic medal. When it will arrive is a mystery, because the No Wings Club is apparently run by Scooby-Doo.
Although I should probably use like a No Wings Club voice.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I think that's pretty close to how the No Wings Club building talks.
Tinfoil Chef is back to chop trees, which he makes easier for himself by setting up water streams for the items. Eventually the whole platform might end up transporting the saplings into a chest for easy replanting later, but throwing them into the waterway makes sense for now. It also allows him to duck back inside when the phantoms turn up to mess with him, although not without him trying to force them into joining the No Wings Club too.
Come on, chump. You think you're so bad? Come on.
VintageBeef also isn't flying yet, although that may be because his spaceship is easier to decorate while it's hovering at accessible heights. He adds some home comforts to the captain's quarters, which is a good move when he's starting to look the part.
I like it. The captain's quarters. I can now set my spawn here, and this is the spot that I spawn when I die, which hasn't happened yet. Number of deaths, 0.
And on that note, we get some insight into how this transformation began, and a glimpse at Evil Azuma's involvement, which might explain why Beef seems so keen on joining the Derpcoin Empire.
You have? Why?
The decision to appoint a literal potato as Botum CEO might not be the troll we thought it was, because Mumbo's Harmless Harvests is pretty successful. Sure, nobody's buying the potatoes, but they are buying everything else. So when the next meeting is called, at which Grian appoints himself the head of snacks,
are you meant to be eating right now?
Are you eating?
Mumbo introduces them to the company car scheme and the garage where they can all start their engines. With great horsepower comes great horse responsibility.
The ultimate hardcore drifting right here.
Buy it, Boatum! Buy it, Boatum!
Guys, I took his bed.
Wait, no, go back and give it back.
After the business in the front comes the party in the back, but since the front business was a party, the back party is now the business. Dedicated to actually completing the reverse of his mountain, Mumbo mines out a ton of stone, leaving himself with some deep slate he doesn't have a need for. So naturally he needs to set up a pop-up shop next to Grian's train.
Genuinely, I only had 2 reasons for doing this. The first one was, of course, annoying Grian, and the second one is because I came up with a funny pun-based name and I just didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to use it. I mean, just look at it.
The server's deep slate cravings might be cured by Doc M, who's back on his tunnel bore game, getting around the tedium of mining deep slate by blowing it up instead.
The tunnel bore is back, my friends. I made one. I was bored.
That's not the only thing he blows up, but we'll get there after we talk about Etho taking a deal for a season's supply of shulker boxes. Doc M's price is the fastest horse on the server, and condemning Etho to the now traditional 1,000 spider eyes.
Oh no. Oh. I mean, it's unlimited shulker boxes. I gotta do it, right?
Yeah, but it's a value.
But it's a good thing Doc didn't promise a season's worth of obsidian, because his wither-powered farm goes abruptly sideways. Having transported some zombie piglins up to the wither cage, the moment of truth comes when Doc generates a portal, manually triggering the withers to destroy it, successfully. Then as soon as he tries to automate the process, the withers get released. Whether he can financially recover from this remains to be seen, but he might look into ways of farming obsidian without unleashing doom on the server. Doc's business partner Rendog is holding up his side of the operation, although not without his fair share of explosions too. Ren time-lapses clearing the Octagon Island and laying the foundation, which is going to involve a lot of copper aging, then builds a concrete converting machine which promptly blows up.
And in a second, we should hear a piece of TNT exploding. There it goes, and yeah, mistakes have been made.
After some adjustments, it's back in action and more reliable, and also includes an automatic glass smelter for all the sand you didn't want in pretty colours. Pearlescent Moon gives us a mini Hermitcraft recap of her own, flashing back to her adventures with Ren and Doc, the Boatum meeting where they egged each other to death, and explaining where the third, but definitely not final, Scar Build Here sign came from.
Swag is actually an Australian term, where you pack up your personal belongings inside like kind of a roll or a bit of a sack, and then you take it around with you on your journeys.
But returning to the present, she's got a lighthouse castle hybrid to build on top of her mountain, far enough inland that it explains why all her other boats have found themselves permanently in dry dock.
Okay, so I know it's all stone, and also apparently really covered in snow right now. Hold on guys, let me just fix that for one moment.
Unfortunately, the current mountain is too small for Pearl's vast creative vision, so she'll have to terraform some more before we get a glimpse of the finished product. Especially if Scar will deliver on all the places people ask him to build stuff, then there might not be a block left on the server. A chance to decide how to go about it presents itself when Grian calls another Boatum meetup, having completed the magic bank for magic money in his wizard shop alley and no doubt wondering where to get some cash to put in it.
4 degrees of wonk in it.
Unfortunately, the time to present one's ideas in this Boatum meeting is limited to the length of a person's fall from 1,000 blocks above world height, and that's only long enough to say something or other about cars, but even that will be blanked out by the wind noise and the screaming.
God,
so bad.
We're around with our...
Oh, I'm gonna go in the hole.
Anyhow, this is why the letter to Isgal had to be in real-life mail and in elven penmanship. And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is PixelRiffs. If you like the humour on display in our show, please subscribe to our writer, and as a good primer, click the video in the end screen, in which Zloy mails 3 shulker boxes of terracotta to a friend's base via the medium of a zombie horde. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.